we're all just humans that really just want love. Like, it's like we're all just, and in every aspect, in whether it's love in like respect, whether it's love in like, just like self-respect, like identity, like love of like community, like whatever it is, like, and I don't know, I think that's it. We have to just it becomes difficult, and it becomes such a plight when we're looking at it through like everyone and everything, and we have to just bring it down to what can I do for my little world.
Yeah, I think I heard a knock on the door.
Oh,
is that the pizza?
Hey,
Okay, cool. All right.
Un momento, por favor.
By the way, welcome to the Metaforecast. This is season something, and we are here in Noors' living room.
Also, Speak Easy with Haroon, conversations with artists, creatives, and troublemakers. This is another episode where me and Meta team up and do something together. And today is basically it's a little informal conversation on the couch with poet, singer, all-round creative Noor.
No, and I actually kind of like that we just got into the podcast. I think
I didn't even know the cameras were rolling.
Yeah, I think it's actually better. Like, I think next time we should just do podcasts without introductions. I think that might be a thing.
How's Oddsops getting on in Bali?
She's in Thailand now.
Oh,
she is living her best. Oh my God, Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy for her, man. She's so happy.
I can't see.
So
I think
happy.
here's the thing. Being
She's
out
in
there,
her element. I
can't
her
see
there
a person coming back here and being happy.
She doesn't want to. She does not. That is not even on her radar. Like, it
Never
doesn't
come
need
back to
to be.
UK.
No, it doesn't need to be. Like, she is so happy. Like, she is living her best, inshallah. Whatever happens. But her intentions are to try to build a life out there, which makes sense. Because I think that she's in her element.
She's teaching English.
She's a teacher. She's teaching English. She's still doing like poetry stuff. Like, she's going to poetry events and stuff out there. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, I messaged her a few times. She's left me voice
The world
notes.
is big, man. The world is bigger than London.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, it's cool. I know she's just living life.
She's living.
She's living life. Let me just see if I can. It's gonna. There we go.
If she's there like longer than a year, I'll definitely go out and visit her. But because I just came back from Bali, bro, that expense was daft.
Sick. Oh wait, where's my phone?
What's this?
Who's that?
My brother.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Yeah, I'm doing a podcast. What's up?
She famous like that.
Okay, bye.
I'm gonna put mine on airplane mode.
Yeah, I'm going to put mine on airplane.
That's cool.
Well, isn't the delivery guy going to call you?
No, he
Or
won't
they're
call
gonna
me.
ring the doorbell?
It's on Uber Eats. He'll ring the doorbell.
Okay, cool. And then we're gonna put that. It's gonna be part of the podcast. It's like casual,
Yeah.
like different. Yeah, I think this.
So what, you're going to catch me eating on camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit. I don't look graceful on camera eating, but anyway.
Well,
No
you could
one
just
does.
just
I
take
don't look
just
graceful.
small bites.
There's a high def camera catching me eating.
Yeah, there's gonna be ASMR going on you. Like, you're mic'd up. I've got my Noor questions as well. Very good.
Oh, actually, do you know what? I wrote 2 topics just because I could talk to you guys about absolutely anything, and I know that we could very much drift off and wife off. Yeah.
Yeah. How long do you want this? How long you want to?
Literally, do you know what? I feel like we should do it like 40 minutes. Defo mind, like, even if it's 40 minutes, I think even 40 minutes is a perfect length, because I think
cool.
and then so I wrote just 2 topics that I feel like would be really cool to talk to you guys off.
Okay, cool.
Fly by.
Because I've got some things because I want to.
Your questions for sure.
And then yours.
Why did you want to do it again? I'm not against. I just because like when you did it, I was just like, this is an opportunity for me to do mine again. Because I didn't feel good about mine.
But that's the thing, because I didn't feel good that day too. Like, genuinely, like, I didn't feel good.
I was
I didn't feel like I was high energy.
I always not every time I see you, you're always in good energy.
That's
So,
the
like,
thing, so
the fact that you felt like that inside, I was like, oh, maybe I wasn't listening properly. But
No. I thought it was lit. It was great, and the car episode was lit, and even before,
I love
it
the
was
car
a beautiful.
episode,
It was,
man.
but even
Keep
before.
the car episode.
No, keep everything. But even like the before, it was beautiful and it was dope. But also, I just think because I haven't seen you guys in so long as well, we were just talking, and we started. I love that stuff as well. But we started so many conversations, and I know that we didn't finish them. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, what did I talk about on this podcast? So Shak asked me, he was like, what were the topics that you spoke about? And I was like, we just spoke in it. Like, what do you mean? What are the topics I spoke about? And then I think like there's so
and I feel differently about relationships since then. So basically,
I wanted to know about this, the marriage
and I
thing.
said I wanted to talk to you. So basically, I thought, like maybe So you're getting exclusive here. I thought
We're on
like,
camera right now.
yeah, we're recording.
No.
Yeah, I always record off like because you don't know you'll catch something.
Alright.
But I think for me, like I thought, okay, pursuing relationships, and Haroon knows like I said, yeah, I'm always busy, but maybe that's me putting an excuse like, oh, because I'm putting my work before anything, like I don't have time for relationships. But what it is really is I've realized that because I get invested really like too much, like I just not that I mean I'm okay with being hurt and stuff, but the fact that being hurt for no reason, like because like dating's always like whatever. I feel like I need someone to prove a lot more to me that they're worth my time, if that makes sense. And so yeah.
I hear that one loud.
Exactly, and I kind of use the idea of work as a little bit of an excuse because I think I'm gonna work until someone to me is the exception, and I'm gonna actively pursue that. So right now, I've not met anyone yet that makes me want to stop working.
Yeah.
And that's the nuance of it.
That is literally what I thought, and then you know what happened?
Yeah.
I met my mans at work.
Okay, I see.
Poetry, literally, is right.
Yeah.
So it's like that's it. And but that's the mad thing. And I think that's it's so mad that you say that because I feel like, and I say this to Shak all the time. Like before our relationship, I didn't really think about marriage. Like I didn't really have any thoughts on marriage. But I very much I would love to get married to him for sure. Like that is definitely like where I would want it to. You know, that's definitely a thing.
And you?
Me, marriage. I'm still. That's still a question mark for me in terms of like relationships. I'm open to, but I think for me financially that does not make sense.
But why do you think relationships are financial though? Like that's the thing.
No, because people always say like, yeah, money's not an issue, but then every person.
No. I'm not saying money's not an issue. I'm not saying
I
that
mean,
now.
okay,
I'm not
cool.
saying.
Why
I'm
you
just
say-
saying.
okay.
I'm saying that, but it's about mentality, right? And it's about the type of person that you're seeking. Okay, so cool. If you're seeking the bad bee that needs to get her nails done and that needs to get her hairs done, yes,
sense.
it's
Yeah,
expensive.
for
You
sure,
need to pay for hers, and she has every right to want to be paid for. That's
for
what
sure.
she wants to do, and that's
But also
her life.
that also speaks to what kind of person, what kind of man I want to be.
What kind of man?
And
Right.
I think coming from when I was working, and this is probably still what I am now, but if I had someone, I would want to do that for them. I would want to financially support them and maintain them if that was a thing, if I could do it.
So
but because I don't have the option. Yeah, I'm a provider type, but I think it took me a long time to kind of think, like, proper drill down into why do I feel this way about this. So for me, like, money comes into the equation for me because that's what I want to do for them. But it might not necessarily what they want me to do for them, but I also feel like that is a thing that I would be uncomfortable with if I couldn't do that for them. If that makes sense. But also I am aware, like me, I prefer low maintenance. I'm a low maintenance person, but I think I like to do things well. And if I'm going to do the relationship thing, I want to do it well. If I feel like I can't 100% meet to my expectations, then I'm not going to pursue it. So if I feel like me doing my best is only 80%, then I won't pursue it because I want to put more into it than I can actually practically do. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
I get what you mean though. I get what you mean though. Like
yeah,
you want it to be, yeah. I get what you mean. What's
my take on it? It's always
a loaded question for you, isn't it?
It's such a loaded because we've had a lot of talks about this because I've been trying to figure it out for myself. So I think for me, I'm very scared and averse of marriage. I mean, I had an arranged marriage. It didn't work out. And, just to sort of really be quite honest and open and vulnerable, like I'm currently estranged from my daughter, which is a really difficult thing. Me and my ex-wife don't talk. And to say that it hasn't coloured how I look at relationships would be an absolute lie. It would be an absolute lie. I had a dating profile which literally said, I'm busy, I'm creative, I'm trying to just follow certain like passions, don't have a lot of time. But, in the very little time that I do have, I'm looking to spend a little bit of time with someone. Like it was very subtly insinuate and, a match with someone and, you know, what I may have advertised myself in a certain way, and she may have responded to the advertisement in a certain way, but what we got into with each other was far more. Like, it was a relationship, and I grappled with it over the last sort of several years. Like, you know, we've had points where we've sort of taken a break or broken up, and then had to sort of figure things out. I don't think that there is ever I think you can believe whatever story you tell yourself. To a certain extent.
Yeah, because that's what I was
No, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing. I think something I wrote recently, which I'm sure it's been written or said before.
Yeah.
But someone's done this before, because this one was, you know, just that thoughts are prayers, you know, like the thoughts that you have are prayers. So it's like the things that you think, that's what's happening. That's what you're wishing for, you know.
Well, it's what you're angling towards. I mean, look,
and you know,
I could,
and that's,
like, I'm with someone right now. It's the same person, and just figuring out life together. But I have told myself narratives over the last kind of 6.5 years around, you know, being, you know, like, I don't know, too busy for a relationship, or not having the headspace because I need to sort this, that, or whatever out. And I'm sure if I was single, whatever I would say now, that would be the thing that I believe. Like, I think we do tell ourselves stories. So in terms of my take on relationships, marriage is not something, it's not something I can see myself doing again. I mean, I could change, and I've changed a lot over the last 6.5 years as I've sort of morphed and looked at things. But I think it all depends on what sort of relationship you want, what sort of person you want to be. Because I think that's the one thing that I mean, I'm currently in one, and I'm happy to be in it. I think the decision that I made was that there is no idea. Obviously, there can be circumstances where you're like, you know what, there is not the bandwidth from either party or both parties to make it work. It just depends on where you're at in life. I think relationships are an incredibly beautiful thing. I don't think we're meant to do life on our own. I don't think we're meant to do life on our own, but I do think that there's quite a romanticized view of relationships as well in culture, like, that comes from pop culture, whether it's songs, music, film, and so forth.
I don't know. I feel like innately we just want love, right? Like we are made to love, like, in whatever form it is. Like, so, and I think that, so as much as it is, I think, and music as well. I think music is a depiction of what society feels in different times. Like, so if you look at the 60s music, it's what the society of the 60s was feeling at the time. Whether that's music, art, poetry, anything, writing, like, or you look at the book. So, and I think that's the beauty of, I think, just creativity, even right now, like the things that we're creating, like, they're the feelings of today's society, which is so beautiful, like, whether or not, like, whatever that is, like, and so something I actually want to talk to both of you about was, like, in terms of creativity, you know, no, like, but just in terms of, like, so with creativity and having so many different, like, avenues and ways to express feelings and, like, make feelings tangible, which what I think is art, like, for example, we all do poetry, but we all have like another creative, like, thing that we also do, you know, like, you do, like, photography, you're a DJ as well as, like, a writer, like many other things, and, like, obviously I, like, sing sometimes, like, I'm, like, writing a novel as well. Like, what do you think there's different feelings that you go to for different like creative things, or do you think that you just, like, express what you're expressing? Do you know what I mean?
That's actually, I think I do a bit of both, but I mean, I think mostly, like, when I do my poetry, like, when it's in the love intimate bag, I do go to the, like, melancholic, like, old school romanticized R&B thing bag, like most of my love poetry and intimate poetry is based on R&B, like, just how they kind of brought that kind of, like, swag and swoon kind of thing. Like, actually, that should be sick for an EP, a swag and swoon. Just basically, just, like, you know, when we think of En Vogue, or if you think of, like, not Salt and Pepper. maybe salt and pepper. But like, you know, SWV, shout out to Suave as well. SWV, yeah, just kind of like Adina Howard. It's just kind of got like, it's just so cool. This has made love so cool and give it like some kind of flavor
cool.
to
That's
it.
cool, yeah, literally.
And I think when you look at like old school, like romantic poets, like, I don't know, when you look at, you know, old dead white people that we like you know, like Edgar Allan Poe, T.S. Eliot, Shakespeare, and it's this love is this epic, dramatic thing, and I like to like blend them together because, you know, it always seems like those poets are
like
just
you make
like
a cool epic,
fawning,
like a cool
they don't have a chance. Those poets never had a chance with those women that they were writing about, whereas like with R&B, those guys had a chance, like, you know, like, you know, like, not let me lay it on the line, got a little freaky. Like, it's just like whether that be women or men, like kind of like spitting game is like, yeah, there was a chance that it was gonna hit and they were just gonna like get together. Whereas like I just like if I'm gonna write love poetry, I'm writing for the result. Yeah. Like I'm gonna be with you when after you hear my words for you, then we're together. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like with the poets that I read in school was like, you know, his coy mistress, like this guy's writing to this lady that like, oh, we should get together because life is short and we're gonna die soon. I was like, wow, that is like proper begging it. Like, I was like, no, that's no game. That's not game for me. Like, so I just wanted to like blend that too. So yeah, in terms of that, yeah. And when I rap, because I know you rap too, like it's all about that London swag, and I kind of just or that London voice, and like there's a certain energy that I kind of tap into depending on that time when I'm writing, and those are the two things I kind of delve into, kind of thing. So a little bit of both of what you said.
Yeah, that's good. And with the photography though, as well, like what kind of feelings do you reckon you're expressing with your photography?
Oh, okay. With photography, videography.
Because I think with what you said as well, like with the R&B thing as well, like you do, like your videography is very like when you do videos for people, it does have that old school, you know, that old school R&B vibe to not R&B necessarily, but that old school vibe to that old school like
nostalgia.
Yeah, that vibe, nostalgia. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. That nostalgia.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think we're always looking for flaws. Like even if you look at new videos now, like new R&B videos, new hip hop videos, like we're shooting on like HD 4K, but then we're putting like
the hazy effects on top. Like
we're putting, and then we're like making it retro by like decaying the image on purpose in post, and that kind of shows us that things look better when they look imperfect. Like the reason why vinyl sounds so cool and sounds so it sounds warm is because you can hear the imperfections in the audio, like in terms of like the vinyl and the scratching.
The technology wasn't perfect then. Yeah. So a lot of what actually influences stuff in terms of how it sounds is because the technology isn't perfect, and actually there's sometimes a level of like distortion or degrading of the signal. So if you listen to like old school hip hop, the reason why everything sounds so crunchy is because the machines actually distorted the sound, as opposed to much better machines where everything is produced perfectly. Hence, you know, like so it's a similar thing with like cameras, right? 4K cameras, you can see everything, whereas an old school, like, you know, film, it's not real. It's not a perfect depiction of what's in front of you, but that actually is what adds to its charm, because it just gives a certain feel.
It's the same with music and people that sing, right? Like when someone sounds really polished, it to me is kind of boring. But like if someone like
that raspiness,
raspiness like a Macy Gray, or like when someone spits like Jadakiss, like when the voice is unique enough, like it just has a flavor to it, yeah. Or some
like,
sort.
I get you with Macy Gray, like there's character.
There's character. Things. Like even like when if you can replicate the song perfect every time you sing on stage. Then what makes you different from an audio recording? Like you want slight changes, you want some imperfections in there. Like it just adds to because every time you sing a song, it's an iteration of that song or a different rendition of that song. Yeah. In the spirit of the song.
Same as a poem as well. You know, like it's like you don't want like a poem to be like an exact like it's great when there is a performance, and that is one of my favorite types of poetry, the spoken performance poetry. I think it's beautiful. I think it's incredible because it's a display of feelings in 3-4 minutes, which is incredible. But even that, it's got to be not necessarily it's got to be different, but there's nuances to each time that you do that piece, because you're feeling it differently each time you're doing it. You could be going through something else that day where now you're feeling it more, or you're feeling it in a different way. I don't know.
How do you feel about that question that you asked us as well?
Just because I was thinking about it in terms of music and poetry. I think with songs, especially with when I'm singing, I think I'm much more I don't want to say dumbed down, but vulnerable, but also simple. You know what I mean? Simple, but I think it's, and there's a beauty in that as well. That I think that it's because I was just thinking about different processes as well, with creativity, where it's with poems, I write down the poem. I don't just. The poem's not, I don't just speak the poem, right?
Yeah,
there's a process, you write it. But with music, you put on a beat and you just sing the song. There's no, there's no writing.
Yeah, I think I heard a knock on the door.
Oh.
Is that the pizza?
Hey.
Okay, cool. All right.
Un momento, por favor.
By the way, welcome to the Metaforecast. This is season something, and we are here in Noors' living room.
Also speak easy with Haroon, conversations with artists, creatives and troublemakers. This is another episode where me and Meta team up and do something together. And today is basically, it's a little informal conversation on the couch with poet, singer, all-round creative, Noor.
No, and I actually kind of like that we just got into the podcast. I think
I didn't even know the cameras were rolling.
Yeah, I think it's actually better. I think next time we should just do podcasts without introductions. I think that might be a thing. Thank you so much.
Do you want any sauces or anything?
I'm good for now.
Are you sure?
If you need anything, go for it. So I was just saying to the people at home that we're in your fancy humble abode.
My humble abode.
Yeah.
My humble abode.
So
I've lived here for ages, West of West.
West of West.
We are west of West. West cuts off at West Drayton. That's why you got to pay more.
See, look, we're at the edge of zone. Was it zone 4? Zone
6? 6, bro.
6. Okay, cool.
This is not. This is Sippenham, actually.
Sippenham.
This is Sippenham. So
wow,
we're not Slough.
I've never heard of Sippenham.
But it is Slough.
I've heard of
really.
Ickenham.
It's Slough.
Yeah.
Sippenham. I don't know if Sippenham's next to Slough or in Slough.
Yeah.
But then the town over is Burnham.
Is it all right for me to just pull back to the love question?
Okay,
yeah,
some thoughts, and then I'll talk about the different art forms. I think when it comes to sort of love and relationships.
Shall we play it out while you say this as well?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. This is
I'm
my
just
band as
staring
well.
at the pizza.
Okay.
There you go.
Before it goes cold. I think there is a bare level of headspace that people do need to be able to have to be in a relationship.
100%. You need to know yourself. You need to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, how the hell?
Yeah, knowing what you want or certain correct life circumstances. But that being said, once that gets met, then it is about the story and the narrative you tell yourself. Because I think the one that you told yourself about being too busy work creating, I've told myself that one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think most people give themselves.
I said.
And it's not always true. And the thing is that quite often, in your case and in my case, someone just parachutes into your life that completely and utterly will sort of test those assumptions.
I mean, no, you said you gave yourself those kind of. What kind of excuses do you give yourself when it comes to before you met Shak, not being in relationships? It's because I figured that.
It's do you know what? It was very similar to what you said. That's why I was like, oh my days, because it's just that it was that thing of I know the type of love that I want to give in it.
Yeah.
So until someone's about to match that, or until someone's about to present that to me, I'm not gonna, I don't want to go on random dates, or I don't want to text random people and see, where it's gonna go, or see if I could find someone. No, I don't. I don't want to have to go searching. I know, and I think that's where it worked. But that took a long time. Yeah. It's not like I was always like that, of course. But I think the last, I'd say, year or two before year or two before I met Shak, probably. About a year or two before I met Shak. That's kind of where I was.
Because you're from a younger generation where, like, I think we're moving slowly towards.
How old are you? 25.
25. Yeah, because
yourself?
I'm 35. 36. Sorry, 36.
42. So,
yeah, like we're moving towards. Obviously, there's more autonomy for women these days, and like I'm assuming like most women are career orientated now and more independent, like, and obviously like don't need men as much. So in terms of relationships, like before you were in one, like what was your stance on relationships? Like were you looking for someone, or was it just like oh, it's nice if it happens, but like they don't have to fit in a certain category of like ticking boxes or
Now see, for me, right, when I was really young, I was in a bad relationship. Okay. But it was a long relationship from like 15 to 19 or something. So from 19 till this relationship, I did not want to be in a relationship. That was a very conscious decision. Like that was very conscious. Like I'm not, you know, like a nun, but like I did not want to be in a relationship at all. Like that was not the intention. Okay. And yeah, you know, but that was also because I think that in any situation, when you go through anything in life, it takes away from who you are and even what you think of yourself and what you know yourself as, right? So I think it took me a long time, and I had to spend a long time getting to know who the hell I was and what I'm about, right? And I think that was I had to do that. And I think I knew that I didn't want to get lost in another relationship or any relationship, because it's easy to get lost in a relationship. And I think that's and another thing of like what you're saying, I think it is that whole thing of like you don't want to get lost in a situation where like you're putting more, so you're just like, no, like you're being conscious of the fact that it's like, if it's a waste of my time, it's a waste of my time. Like I don't need to see if it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think I've got similar friends, but both men and women that just kind of wanted to be in a relationship just to say that they were in a relationship, and not necessarily like they didn't find themselves outside of a relationship, and then they felt lost, and then they would just go from relationship to failed relationship, just like repeating the same mistakes, or if not growing within that relationship. And I think that's kind of dangerous when you end up being out of a relationship and you're like 50.
So we interviewed Sarah Callahan.
Yeah.
She's dope.
Also in Australia.
She was hosting.
And I think she caught Shak. So basically I was watching.
That's dope.
Because she's in Australia. I saw Sarah's story and she filmed Shak. She was on a balcony or something.
That's so mad. Sarah Callahan, I think she was hosting when I first performed at BYOB, I think, right?
Yeah, she was, yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's in Australia.
Full circle.
And yeah, that's crazy.
Yo, that's so crazy.
And then when Shak's in Australia, she's filmed Shak. So I was like,
that's so sick.
I don't know if they met each other in person.
I don't know if they did, you know, because I don't know if he knows her. But that's so cool. She just filmed a poet. Like, yeah, that's so sick. Okay. That's so sick. Shout out Shak.
You're going to talk about Shak actually, because we talked about him last time, but obviously we've not talked about him yet in terms of like how you guys met, spoken lyric.
I mean, how we met was pretty simple. Like we met. He runs spoken lyric. Mm-hmm. Like he started spoken lyric basically because he was just looking like on YouTube for inspiration, like in terms of like poetry videos and stuff, and he was finding a lot of like American stuff.
So
and there wasn't much.
Just in Birmingham.
Yeah, he's from Wolverhampton.
To the Midlands, and that's when you happened to be living there at the time.
No, I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was back here. So he started up spoken lyric because he was like looking for inspiration and stuff. There was only like really American videos and stuff. So he wanted to create like professional UK poetry videos, like just simple content, just like poems, just like to seek inspiration from basically. So he did this like spoken lyric thing, and I remember I reached out to spoken lyric to be in the videos, and he was like, "Nah, sorry, it's full." And then like we never spoke. Literally, like, that was the first conversation. But yeah, that happened, and then a few months later, he basically put on a story or something saying that he was like doing like the next stuff or whatever, and he wanted like he needed help, like he wanted to expand the team or whatever. So I just reached out because I knew that I wanted to do. Like I wanted to be a bit more involved. Like I wanted to be a bit more involved in the community side of things. Like I wanted to see like, I love poets. I love meeting new poets. Like, I wanted to be more inspired. Like, I wanted to meet new people. So I just reached out to him and I was like, I would love to help. And then we had a call and then we spoke every single day for like 3 months, like literally. And it was all really about, but it wasn't really just about poetry. Like, we was also just like, you know what I mean?
I was like, what call number was it
like,
when you was like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like, was that the third call? Was it this?
No, I mean, do you know what? Funnily, like, I mean, I always thought, I mean, like, Shak's a very handsome boy. Like, I'd seen him around the poetry scene. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, shout out to Shak. I thought he was handsome, of course.
Yeah. I like that word, handsome.
Handsome's old school.
You know, his name means handsome.
Word.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah, his name means handsome. Shaquille means handsome.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
lovely. But yeah, right? So anyways.
Shaquille by name,
Shaquille by name, Shaquille by nature. That's how it is. But yeah, so... I've lost my point. But yes, he's handsome. That's my point.
But I think
that's
I
asked.
Yeah, I was saying like what was it during those conversations? When was it like?
Well, he says it's the beginning. He was like, we were never friends.
Call.
He's like, we were never friends, and I was like, I feel like we were friends for 3 months, and he's like, no, it was like from the beginning. Like, it was, everything was very very quick, I think, but it was also. I don't know, I think, you see when people say, oh, when you know, and it's like, what do you mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. I swear to God it makes sense. Like, see, when you know, you just know.
I feel like it kind of sounds like you both fell into it. Like, it wasn't like orchestrated. It was like, oh, you just started talking and you just didn't stop talking.
Literally. Like, there was no like from when we first like started that conversation for 3 months, that same conversation just went on. And it was like, okay, I've not done this before. This is you know, like, I'm very interested by this person. Like, this is very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, love it.
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's kind of I do because obviously you were both in 2 different cities, so it was kind of like
and then distance. 2 different continents.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
How did you manage that?
Don't even ask. I don't even know. Again, when you know, you bloody know. No, do you know what? It was very hard. It was very hard. There were a lot of times when I was very stressed out. From like before he went, like whilst he was gone, there were a lot of times I was like, what's going on? Like, do you really need to be there? Like, do you, like it's been a minute now. Like, do you even like it there?
Was he just traveling, or was there a job? Or
no, it was just very intentional. Like, he just wanted to take some time, like just to grow. Exactly. I think everybody needs that. Like, especially I think like you need to leave where you're from and go to a different place and like do that. And he hadn't left where he was from, so he needed to go do that. And I think that I know how I don't know. I feel like I know that that's a really important thing. So as much as I was like, I didn't want him to go. Like, that's the girlfriend in me was like, no. But the person in me and the friend and, you know, like the person that cares about him in me was like, you know what, like, this is something that this person needs to do. And if I'm the one that stops him from doing it, that's wrong. Like, if you need to do, you know what I mean? Like, you can't stop somebody from something that they want to do.
Yeah, I think
he also made it very clear that, you know, he made me feel very comfortable and like very
he was just there for growth. Like, exactly. He wasn't gonna go
do you know what I mean?
Like,
like that. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, there was like, yo,
handsome guy summer.
Listen, I was thinking about, like, I really thought he's off on a handsome guy summer. That was my. But then again, like, they were very fleeting thoughts. Like, they were very very fleeting thoughts, and I think that.
I mean, it's natural to have those thoughts, though. I think of the scene as a place of work, so I find people get like. I mean, I'm not against it. Like, do you? But for me, that's not a thing. Like, for me, like, it's like, oh, this is where I work.
I mean, before I was in a relationship, I had a no poet rule.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It just, for me, like, it's like, if that doesn't go well, then like, if you go to another event and they be there, then is that awkward and stuff? Because I've had that at work. Like, I've gone to the canteen and they're literally in the line in front of me getting chips. Like, I'm like, what do I say?
So you haven't always been that disciplined. You've broken. Okay.
So I'm just like, well, how does that work in poetry when like things are said on stage and like are they indirecting
just in the audience,
and
they're just slating you, and all your friends are clicking, and it's just like, yo,
oh shit,
do you guys even know?
And if they do know, then like they're like looking at you like
they're
talking about you. So I'm like, yeah, that's nuts. So yeah, it's kind of mad. But I mean, you know,
that's so funny. You know, Shak's literally done that to me before. Like,
I've been in an audience.
Yeah, and then he's performed it. Like, and I've been there and not expected it, and it's been.
What did he say?
It was about a disagreement that we had as well. Like, it was but it was funny though, and it was and I love that because I think that sorry, 1 second.
No, go for it.
guys could talk about
No. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. I think, yeah, each their own. And I don't, yeah. I think, but there's some people that have like really cool relationships from it. So, yeah.
No, but that's the thing, because I think that something that I love doing is if we're disagreeing on something, is like writing about the thing, like writing about what we're because if it's like something that we both feel differently about,
and then
so
you
like
communicate to each other through that.
Yeah, and then we tell each other,
and
then you understand,
I tried
like
that
you know,
once
like
in uni with someone that I liked, and it was a disaster.
No, I mean sometimes you don't, but you also have to have. No, but
I mean, I think with another
you have to
poet,
have an open mind. I feel like you have to be like open, and like when it's not like I'm gonna write down these points to prove my point to you. It's more just like an
exploration.
Yeah, an exploration, like like
it's a creative
you're balancing
exercise.
an essay basically.
Yeah.
Can I pull back? I mean, I seem to be operating on a lag today, but you know, when you're asking about the different feelings going into different art forms, if I could explore that for a second. So I think for me, I always said that sort of poetry was going to be like a gateway drug. Like for me, poetry is about probably taking a lot of stuff out of my subconscious that I'm not even aware of and creating that awareness on the page. So a lot, for me, it's about purging. When I make beats, I actually don't make stuff based on what my emotion is. And I think some of that is because I'm always working with elements that are given to me. Like, I'm not necessarily composing from scratch. You know, I'm taking a drum sound or a drum loop here. You know, I'm taking a stab or a little lick of guitar here. When it comes to sort of making beats, which I haven't done for a minute because I'm just really quite, you know, got my head down just like in a flow state with writing. When it comes to making beats and music, it's more about just trying to make something where when I hear it, I'm like, it's done. It makes sense. I like it. But again, when it comes to feelings in different art forms, like I remember I was on a flight to New York this summer and I felt so compelled. I had this urge to write. A poem was not the right vessel. And that was like the beginning of my journey into writing prose. Because I was like, okay, there's just, like for me, poetry, I write poems that work as a unit themselves. They're self-contained. And then when I build up a body of work, like say my debut book, Press Play, then I put it together and go, okay, over a period of time, there must be something that I'm going through or that I'm fixating on, and that's the thread that can connect it. Like for me, it's about throwing all the clay onto the kiln and then going, okay, is it going to be a pot? Is it going to be a coffee mug? For me, prose is about painting a much bigger, broader picture. So what I'm trying to write about, like with prose, I'm trying to look at a story of, you know, someone growing up in one location and there being a certain set of like backdrops and social circumstances, then moving somewhere else and that adjustment, and then moving back to a place, and how that place that they return to isn't the place they left. And then trying to perhaps leave it on a certain point, because it's like jumping in and trying to take a certain arc that is potentially years, if not over a decade. Different things for different things. Like DJing, for me, purely is about just trying to make people happy. It's trying to make people happy, and sometimes just trying to make myself happy. But I think the different art forms, they are different types of canvases. Like what you can do in prose, you can't do in poetry. What you can do in poetry, you can't do in prose. What you can do in rap, like when you guys rap, that's something that you can't do necessarily as a drummer. It's just all different things, and some of it is perhaps where your passions lie, and some of it's probably where you feel that you've just got a stronger natural talent.
I was gonna ask, like, for Noor, like, obviously you write, you do poetry and you sing. Like, how do you know when you're, like, kind of similar to Haroon? Like, how do you know when it's a song or if it's a poem, or is it just they just traverse that boundary quite easily because, you know, one's accompanied by music?
Something that I'm trying to work on is merging the two. Like, I think that's what this hibernation period of 6 months as well. Like obviously I've not been going to events and stuff, but I'm still a creator. Like I'm still creating. So I think I've been trying to think about that more because like I love to actually sing a cappella. Like I don't actually like to sing on beats much because I think beats restrict you to like where you're going. And I think with singing, as I said, like it is very emotional. It is very like vulnerable to the point where like I don't write down the words before. It's just like
it just comes out.
It just comes out. Just the way these
you just start singing. It starts off as a sound and then it becomes words.
Yeah, it's like a hum. Literally, it's like a hum, and then like I'll hum it, and then but sometimes though it's like, because sometimes I'll write like really short page poems, and then those page poems could be songs. So it's like that's what I'm trying to like. I've been working on recently. Is like going back to those page poems and making those page poems a bit more like melodic, and then having those be like the start to kind of like what you're saying, like there's threads, right? Because like I wrote everything, like so there's links, so you know I'm the one that went through the things, so like right, so there must be links between these small page poems that I'm writing and larger pieces that I've done previously. Like there's got to be like themes that you know they both relate to. So it's like I guess just like merging the two and just I guess just exploring really, because I think that I think that's why I asked, like that's the beauty in like creating. Like there's not just like one pocket, like there's so many different pockets that like you know like we want to tap into, and there could be another one, you know, like you might decide to pick up drum set, like you might decide to pick up a guitar, like you never know, right? And it's like, so that I think that's really beautiful, like in terms of like, and I think that also just makes me think how like anyone and everyone is a creative, like you just have to like, it's just that start in that exploration.
Has like obviously because you worked with RVJ, Temi Lay on Side by Side, and obviously RVJ, well, all three of them now have like projects that accompany to music. Did they teach? Did you learn anything from them via observation, or if you had conversations with them, like in terms of that kind of stuff?
I mean, with RVJ, man, I love RVJ so much. Like I learn something from RVJ all the time. Like you know, like Mr. RVJ is Mr. Consistency. Like his work ethic, his self. Like just self-belief as well, like his and in terms of self-belief, I don't even mean like in terms of like I am the greatest self-belief. I mean like self-belief that I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
do you get it? Like I'm gonna do like you get, and it's that constant, like he's very much a seeker of more learning as well, like no matter what he does, like in every space that he's in as well, like he's always seeking, which is so like beautiful. And I think that's something that I've defo learned from him. Like he is just that consistency, like
his memory for power, like he's got a couple
6-minute pieces, you know, like he's powerful.
He's got, I think he's got more, his memory is like more than 30 poems, I think, like just from like recording him and just hearing his sets, and like oh, that's a new one, and it's like oh, that's a new one. Like his memory capacity is bonkers.
It's incredible. I mean? It's incredible, and his rate of like even just like distributing music, like just even putting it out there, like incredible. Like it's consistent. And every project is an evolution of the last, and not even necessarily like the last one isn't great. It's a different stage, and there's a beauty in that as well. And there's such a beauty in him having captured each of those stages that we often fear doing. Like we often are like, oh no, I'm not going to put any something out until it's you know that thing that I want to create. Sure. But then it's like, but then you don't have the beauty of looking back and seeing what you need to do to get to that thing that you want to do. You know, sure. And that's something I feel like I've definitely learned from Mr. RVJ, of course.
But yeah, okay, so we've touched on meeting Shak, side by sides.
Oh, is that actually a question you want to ask?
Yeah, so it's Shak and Spoken Lyric, growing up in West London.
West of West,
yeah.
I would love to have grown up in West London. Maybe it would have been more accessible. But West of West, it's just that thing of like, it's London, but it's not in it. Like it is, like so it's just as multicultural, it's just as diverse, it's got all those good things. It's just not as accessible. Like, we just didn't.
Yeah.
But
now you got the Lizzie line now.
Now we got the Lizzie line. You know what I mean? But the Lizzie line's spenny, bro. The Lizzie line ain't like Lizzie ain't expensive. Sorry, it's expensive. It's not helpful much. But no, it is. It's great. It's a blessing. It really is. And I think West London. I don't know. I feel like there's a very. It's very ethnic. It's very diverse. It's very cultured. It's very there's a certain level of like.
Because I mean, there is obviously being near Southall. There's like so many like Asian cultures there.
Yeah, it's very
so
community.
You feel represented.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not even necessarily just like mine. It's like for example, like my best friends growing up were Yemeni, Ghanaian, and like Tanzanian. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that, and that's beautiful. Like that culture, that difference, that's beautiful. Like, you know, like that's I don't know. I think that is just what I love about London. And I think it's like you're saying, like going to different places, like you were saying, like even other English-speaking countries, there isn't that level of diversity and culture. If you go to another English-speaking like white country, for example, you're going to Australia.
I think New York or LA might be the closest.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But, like that big cities, like do you know what I mean? Like London, LA, New York. Like you go to like these big cities and you have that hub of diversity, even if you're in a different place, right? Okay. Whereas like in let's say like you're saying like Australia, like if you were to like relocate to, I don't know, Brisbane or like something, like it's not as multicultural. It's not as like, you don't feel as like, as, I don't want to say connected, but like, yeah, kind of. Like I feel there is more of a connection to people that have similar experience to you. Like that is just, you know, that is just the truth. And I think it's even just like why we can sit here and connect. Not that we wouldn't otherwise, but it is just, I think that is a very poignant part of growing up. And not that doesn't exist in other places, but I think that has always been loud. I've never felt like there's many like I live in a like an overly white area or anything, you know, like that. So like, you know, that, and even being from the UK, it's still like we're very ethnic around these ends. Like I don't know about the UK, but like, you know what I mean, like you know, so it's like, I don't know, and I love that. I think it's great. And it's I mean, y'all they shouldn't have gone out and fucking colonized the whole world, and then we wouldn't be here, bro. Like we'd be chilling in our own places, but we're not.
Yeah, I always like to think like London is a country in itself, in that
100%.
Like I think most people relate to being a Londoner more than
pizza?
Yeah, go for it. Londoner more than being English or anything like that, or being from the UK. Okay, so last few things. Journey into poetry. Your first poetry event was BYOB, which was also the first day you met Rohan, me, I guess, and
Baz,
Noor,
who's like my sister, Yaz, who's like my sister, like everyone, man.
And obviously Odsocks, and then obviously
Miriam, Oh
I was very low key on those days because I jumped back in as a DJ.
Yeah,
you were the DJ. But do you know what I felt? There was a real proudness in me because like I saw Haroon like nod at a couple bars that I said or something, and I was like, oh, like that made me feel good because I was like, the DJ likes me.
It was a powerful poem as well because it was
the
women
piece.
one.
Yeah.
So that
was actually a rap, and I you know, in all due respect, I was rapping. Like, I didn't know I was poeting. I didn't know I was
She can rap, yo. You can watch that on my channel.
No, but this is the thing. I didn't know poetry was a thing. I didn't know that there was this whole spoken word thing. Like, as far as I was concerned, poetry was books. Poetry was poems in books. It was stanzas and alliteration and metaphors and all these things or whatever, which it is. It is all those things. But spoken word, like, I don't know, it's incredible. Like, and it was literally all just because I saw a video of Yaz.
Also, speaking of rap, are you gonna rap more, like in your music?
When you say rap, yeah.
When
you say rap, it's like, do you know what? I think I'm down to explore. I'm down to explore different BPMs in my tonage. No, I'm joking.
140.
Drum
and bass.
140. No, but as in like different tempos and stuff, like different I think just being more explorative, like not in performance, like, you know, like I think that is something that I want to do more of, like even just like, so something that I've got for next year that I'm going to try to be consistent on is the godforsaken TikTok.
The tiki
the tiki-toki.
Yeah,
so
I've been up in my TikTok game recently.
I'm gonna try and up my tiki-toki game. But what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and basically, like, because obviously I'm getting my own space, so I'm just going to make like a corner where I can, like, you know, like have everything set up, and it just be like once a day, like I record a piece, you know, like whether that it's an old piece, whether it's something that I'm writing, whether it's whatever, but I can do a minute a day, like, you know, like I can do a minute a day, like it's not, you know, it's not.
And you can record it all in. You can record like 5 days worth, like in
like 5 minutes. You get it, like literally. There's no excuse.
And then just post them on different days.
That's the thing. Like there's actually no excuse. So I think that is an intention for next year for sure.
Talk to us about Light in the Dark Room and what future projects you've got going on.
Projects. Well, Light in the Dark Room, obviously. So Light in the Dark Room was very much just about me, written by Noor, produced by Noor, art by Noor, distributed. Noor by Noor. But not even necessarily that. It was just that I wanted to understand every aspect of it. Because even if, like, say, for example, like, okay, I want to pay like a marketing company to do something. I want to know what the hell they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why am I paying you, bro? Like, why am I paying? Like, is this something that I could be doing? Like, what's the, you know? So, and I think that's what I was just getting really like stressed out. And even just like with producers, with beats and stuff. Something that Emma, actually, shout out Emma, beautiful singer, Rohan's beautiful wife. Something that she said to me recently was that start learning simple chords, like on a piano, even just so that you can tell a producer how you want something to sound. Because how important, you know, like, because say you're doing a thing, you're doing a track or whatever, and he's like, what key do you want it in? He knows what keys are. Do you know what keys are? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, like, no, I don't. And that, like, stuff like that, I don't know. I think, so that's what these projects are about, like Light in a Dark Room. The next one I'm doing, Light Despite Darkness. What I want to do with this one is I want to record everything, and then I want to send, so it's only going to be about 15 minutes, so it's 5 pieces, they're about 3 minutes each. And I want to send everything to a live instrumentalist. I'm hoping, I know I'm not going to name drop because if I don't get them, I'll be so sad. But like I got a couple. I'll tell you off camera. Cool. But yeah, so I'm hoping just to send those 15 minutes to a live instrumentalist and just ask them to jam over it, because I prefer that than having to follow the. Do you know what I mean? Because then you change your performance or your own tempo, your tone towards a beat, which I don't really want. You know, I'd rather, But anyways, I guess just learning is what the aim of those projects is, really. Nice. But obviously Moon versus Sun is something that...
Oh, yeah, to see it. I've been waiting. I'm
waiting for it, but you know what?
Epic.
It's an epic. That's the thing. Like, this needs shmoney. And it will have shmoney. And it needs, and hopefully... Shout out Arts Council, because I'm be hitting you lot up soon come.
I think the window's open for DYCP.
Window's open, right, that's the thing. I feel like I need to be very intentional and very solid. Not even just them. I'm gonna hit up everyone. I want to do this properly, basically, and I want to do this with like real guidance and real mentorship. Like I want to, you know. Yeah. But I'm also working on a novel.
Oh yeah. You said you did.
Yeah, a normal written novel. That one is called Sayyida bint Sayyid, and it's basically about my mum's life, but it's also kind of dramatized, kind of fantastical, not fantastical, but like kind of like ideal, let's say. Is it like
adventure? Like when you mean fantastical, there's not like magic in it.
No, there's not like magic in it. That's what I'm saying. So fantastical is not the right word.
Are you saying that it's partly built off of your mother's life, but it's partly fictionalized and embellished?
Yeah, basically is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So it's because it's, I guess the reason why it's fictionalized is I'm kind of trying to merge like my life and my mum's life as like one character, because I think that is it's like we carry the generation before us, right? Like we carry there's a lineage, right? So, and I think that is something that I want to highlight in this novel, like ancestry and how important it is, and why it's good why it's important to sort your shit out before you pass that shit on to the next generation, because
it becomes generational curses.
Yeah,
that's cool. And this thing I keep forgetting to put in my podcast, but is there a song, a book, or something that people should check out that would improve their life, or it has improved yours?
I like that question. For anyone that's interested in, well, I think all poets are interested in understanding things, to be quite honest. That's why we write. There's a book by a guy called Yuval Noah something. And
Harari. Sapiens?
Yes, Sapiens. It's called A Brief History of Humankind, Sapiens.
That's his follow-up.
Now, Sapiens is the most phenomenal book. People should read it and come up with their own interpretations and resolutions from this book. But my personal reason for why I think everyone should read this book is really just that it's a brief history of humankind. And I think something very, very interesting about the way that this writer writes this book is they go from this right from the beginning, like the first things that we know about human civilization, right up until like what we know now. But the way that they write it is like, they'll write like what we thought about like this at this time, but then they'll write like, but then we realized that that's not true. Then we thought this, and then they were like, but then we realized that wasn't true. But then we thought this, but then we realized that, but then we thought this, and it's kind of that beauty of like, we really don't know shit. Like we don't know shit, none of us. And I think that's the most poignant point that I've ever deeped. Like, 'cause I personally don't know shit, and I have to deep that with everything. Anytime I think I have any sort of answer, I don't know though. You know, like this is the even if I have the most educated guess on something, it's still just the most educated guess on something, you know?
It's not definitive. Like,
nothing's definitive.
It reminds me of, I don't know, I'm sure it's a philosopher, but like wisdom starts with knowing that you know nothing. I think there's a poet called Rudy Francisco who, he's sick.
He was in town recently.
Yeah, he was in town.
I didn't even know about him.
Like,
I never even heard of him until I saw it on people's socials. Like, you knew him before?
Yeah, he did. He's done Voices of Power. I think he's done a TED Talk.
He's done Button Poetry.
Yeah, so because I used to follow
and
Right About
Talk,
Now, Button Poetry, and I didn't know that he was in the UK. So when I saw poets go there, I was like, oh, what did I do? Yeah. So him, and then I've been down this rabbit hole of movies right now, like psychological thrillers, and I'm just like, Runaway Jury. I don't know.
Runaway Jury.
Yeah, with like, there's like the cast has got like Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman, that kind of stuff, and it's not even life changing in that, but I just like that's what I'm into right now.
So, like, yo, have a good time.
This like psychological thriller stage in the like late 80s, early 90s kind of.
If we're talking about life changing, I think for me and I'm still very into a lot of the stuff that comes from this part of the world, but it all started around about 2000-ish, just Southeast Asian cinema.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
My mum's proper into like Korean like K-dramas and like
like
all these different. She loves them.
The way they look at love is
loves
different.
them.
I love like,
and they're so dramatic and royal and epic.
K-dramas.
That's not the side I'm.
Oh, you said Southeast.
Yeah,
right?
No, and Southeast Asian. So I think sort of early on watching things like Old Boy came out of South Korea, and then he did other stuff like Joint Security Area, which was kind of about border skirmishes between, I think, South Korea and North Korea.
Wow, that's really interesting.
But then also just great directors like Wong Kar-wai, who did things like In the Mood for Love, and you can sort of see the influence and impact of like his visual style. There's homages to that and things like Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I think just that there's just something about the way in which they tell stories in Southeast Asia. Like I loved watching things like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke growing up, like Hayao Miyazaki stuff. You know, most recently Moving, which is and I'm the first to say that I'm sick of superheroes, but Moving is a South Korean superhero drama. They made the series for $45 million, 20 episodes. Do you know that right now they're spending 15 million at least on an episode at Disney Plus just to make like a Star Wars episode, or even more for a Marvel.
For the licensing and the use of rights.
No, because they already bought it. Disney bought everything from Lucasfilm.
Okay.
They bought Marvel.
You said the Korean are using that money.
I'm saying that the Koreans are creating stuff that blows Marvel, blows Star Wars out of the water, and they're doing it for significantly less. And there's no shortage of like special effects work.
I just think that they're not tethered to what has come before, so they're just free to explore everything.
Not necessarily. It's there's just a different philosophy on how they look at the world. I think that it's one that lacks in judgment. It's one that's very curious, and it's about the human spirit. So even something like moving, they happen to have superpowers, but there's just so many moments of like kindness and humanity. They just happen to have superpowers, but it's a human story, as opposed to, oh, this is this thing about this indestructible person. Yeah. And I think, if we look back on like, the influence of like Asian cinema. Okay, like if I'm going to talk about two movies that really, like if we're talking about movies that completely changed my life, I don't know if I'd say changed my life. I mean, it's so many, like The Usual Suspects by Bryan Singer, even though that wasn't a novel concept, I thought it was. The whole thing of like the narrator not being
reliable.
Yeah. All the different perspectives. I remember when The Matrix first came out and I saw it at the cinema.
I went through I watched Matrix 1 recently.
Do you know what's so funny? Yeah. I'm not really into movies like that, right? And so but Shak is really into movies because he like used to be like do acting and stuff as well. And I tried to watch The Matrix with him. 5 minutes. I was like, what is this 2D effect? Like, what is this dead cinema? Like, I can't do this.
But
I feel like
even now, I still think even now it stands the test of time.
Terrible. It is the most terrible movie. I don't get. So maybe it's just me like being a young.
Do you understand the message though that it's trying to get across?
Well, I got into 10 minutes of it. I didn't get to the message. We was in the office and it was just like, what is this shit?
I mean, the office is the best way, not the best way.
It's like the first 5 minutes.
I would say. You know what I would say?
No, it's in like there was a scene where they're in the office, and even that.
Oh, in the office.
This is
but again, so much of what you see now exists only because of what was done then.
Of course.
But
that's like with
other than The Matrix, I think I was at the cinema with you, where for the first time in a long time, I was blown away when we saw Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We have a whole podcast on that film. Episode 4, by the way. But you can definitely check this podcast on Spotify and YouTube, and I'll let these guys plug themselves.
Yeah, so this will be airing at some point on my platform, Speakeasy with Haroon. It'll be definitely on YouTube and Spotify, although hopefully by the time this is edited, I'll be pushing this out onto other platforms, hopefully. Yeah. Otherwise, you can just check me on Instagram at Speakeasy with Haroon, Haroon. Or at Haroon Creates, Haroon, Haroon Creates. And I've got a book, Press Play, debut book, poetry. Check it out.
No.
I don't even know when this is going to be out, so I don't know what to plug, but I will plug myself and my Instagram. My Instagram is NWRI_IA. Okay. And everything that you need to know will be there somewhere. This will come out. And probably end of 2024. End of 2024.
Maybe 2025.
We are in the past. This is a time machine.
This is the past. Yeah, I mean, it's everything she said she's trying to do. She's already achieved by the time you watch this.
Same. Yeah. That's what we're all doing here. We're manifesting.
And then I've by this point I will have had my website.
Yeah, you will. Your website is out. It is www.themetaphorest.co.uk. .com was taken. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, we got UK, so it's all good. So yeah, okay, peace, guys. Yay! All right, cool. You guys want to take a break? Yeah, water, tea, or tea?